All right, so the Congressional Black Caucus, they want the Department of Justice to look into this, look into the evidence in the Nolan Wells case. They want them to do a thorough investigation. So we're going to talk about what that means. Also, there's still obviously a lot of unanswered questions for the public that the public has. And my question is, should the investigators in this case like provide some type of update? Um, so where should I start? So I'll get into Nolan Wells' friends. I'll put that in parentheses, friends, with their what they had to say. So they gave their perspective on it, but they said they don't know what happened to him. But what's so yeah, they don't know what happened to him. The Congressional Black Caucus, they want, Cash Patel to look into this case, get the Department of Justice to look into the case, which I agree with. I think they should at least look into it, investigate it, and provide their resources. Because basically, what they want them to do is look into all the evidence, whether it's witness testimonies, all the evidence in the case. And I also heard that, what else did I hear so far? That Nolan's cell phone is still with the family. It's not with investigators because I guess they want their investigators, their forensic people, in conjunction with the state to analyze the phone together, which I understand. They don't trust the investigators. That's basically how I interpret it. So, and they live down there, so they have every reason not to, they have their reasons and whatnot. But I thought, since it's an active investigation, I thought that the local authorities will already have the cell phone, but they don't, I guess. Oh, I heard that today. I was listening to, what did I hear that at? Don Lemon was talking to a guy from TMZ, the guy from TMZ with the locks. I forget his name. But according to their sources, the local investigators, they don't have Nolan's cell phone as of yet. So this investigation is not all the way complete, obviously. And he still got a lot of packages. So it's not complete. So now they obviously the family raised a substantial amount of money to have that cell phone looked at. So I'm assuming they had the cell phone looked at, and they're gonna keep, or they're gonna have the cell phone looked at with their investigator, along with the local investigators, to see if they can get some data off the phone. I thought that was already being done, but I don't know. I'm not privy to anything on the case, so I don't know. There's a lot of gaslighting going on, in my opinion, looking on the outside in. There's some gaslighting going on. And now this case is about race. It wasn't before. And the reason why I say it's about race now, because they have a history down there. And I'm assuming they're gonna protect their own before they protect anybody else. I mean, that's just how I'm assuming it. I'm not saying it's happening right now, but there's nothing. They didn't give up any updates or anything. They didn't say, hey guys, we're still investigating the case. This is where we are. They're not saying anything. They're keeping things quiet. So I don't know. Are they keeping things quiet because they don't know what Nolan's family doing? I'm not sure. But I guess usually I got to look at other cases I followed in the past. They don't really give any updates to the public, really. They don't, especially an active investigation that could turn criminal. We're not going to get anything. We'll learn at the very last. They'll have a press conference or something where we will learn something eventually. But right now it's just all speculation. Now there's a picture floating around where they're trying to figure out. They said the Cajun military put out the picture, but I can't find the picture anywhere to authenticate it, where it came from the Cajun military. If anybody have that picture, it's a picture of a guy on a boat, and he appears to be holding somebody, but you can't make out anything. You know, with all this technology we have, these photos are janky. We can't make out nothing in these photos. And then somebody said that they put the photo in AI to enhance the photo. I don't want that done. I just want the raw photo file to see for myself. But so far, there's not. I can't find the photo. I don't, because the reason why I say that, because what if the photo is AI? Yeah, but how do I know the picture's not AI though? Because I've already got burned already with a photo in this case. But if that picture is real, that picture don't look good if it's real. Because it looks like he's holding somebody up, but you can't see in front of him. Everybody got iPhones and the latest Androids, and that's the best photo we can get. That's crazy. Yeah, they taken. Okay, I have to thank you for saying that. The David case, it took a long time to make an arrest. It could be that here, but they could be. Like I said, they said they're going to do a thorough investigation, so they're probably doing that. But I'm gonna tell you right now, in my opinion, the guys that did that interview with Officer Tatum, they look scared, yo. They look scared. They look scared, bro. They do. Especially the one, Jax, the one that was in the middle. Him and the other guy, they like, bro, I don't want to be in this. You said it's a still video, not a picture. I don't know what it is. No, I'm not talking about the video they have. I'm talking about the video of somebody on a boat, and it looks like they're holding somebody up. I want to know if that picture's real. And then somebody said they enhanced the photo and it looks like it's blood there. I don't want to go on that. I want to go on the real picture to see if it's AI. They said the Cajun military put it out. That's the photo I'm talking about. I'm gonna tell you something. If this wasn't an accidental drowning, right? The only thing I can think of, right, is murder. And if it is murder, there's a lot of moving parts here. All right. Let me tell you. Now I'm gonna give you my theory. I was gonna hold off on my theory, but it's just a theory. Don't take it for anything, right? It's just my theory. The reason why the thing is, even my theory, there's holes in it. I can't even, this is crazy. There's a handwritten note somebody wrote. They seem to think that this happened at a party. And they're saying that they're putting out the story of Horn Island as a smokescreen. They're saying that it happened somewhere else. And remember, he said, well, if we're going to kill somebody, why would we call CETO? Why would we do this? Why would we do that? But the problem is, though, in the CETO call, you can clearly hear somebody saying, oh my God, Nolan. Is he dead? I heard that. Even in the original file that wasn't manipulated. So my theory goes out the window that it happened somewhere else. Now, if something happened out there, that means a lot of people may have seen what happened. They saying that it happened at a pool party. So let's say if it did, that means the original young lady's story is true then. We have to go back to the original young lady that was she was on X live on the X account, and they were live. They were having a live session, and she said that she lived out there, and she said that he got jumped at a party, and he was coughing up blood, and then the woman that owned the house told everybody to leave. If that story is true, that makes sense why his phone was jumping all over the place. When his mother looked on it, she said his phone was here, his phone was there. That makes sense. And they took him somewhere else, but the thing is, they didn't take him back to the island that night. If something happened to him there, they left him on a boat. They might have covered him up, left him on a boat. It's hot out there. That's why it was, he was, obviously decomposing because he's out in the elements. But I want to know also I want to know this. How long was the body in the water? Because they're saying that somebody, I forget who said it. They said it doesn't appear that the body was in the water that long. But if that's the case, then he's been missing since the 4th. They didn't find the body until the 6th. Was his body placed there? Was his body placed in the water? Because they said his body was in the water that long. There's a lot of moving parts here. Somebody knows, and somebody know exactly what happened to him. They just not saying. Or maybe they are saying. Maybe they already told the investigators. That's why the investigators are really, really quiet, and the boys are scared. They scared, yo. I didn't see that as a confident interview. I didn't see that as a confident interview. I didn't. They scared. They scared as fuck, man. You can almost hear his heartbeat on his lapel microphone. Somebody said you can hear it. If you put the earphones on, it's almost like you can hear somebody's heart beating. They were scared, yo. They scared, bro. And then the lawyer said he know for a fact. He said, we don't know what happened to Nolan, but I know for the fact that they didn't do it. Okay? Nobody is saying nothing about accidental drowning. Nobody. Because everybody's saying, well, I don't know what happened. Well, it appears that he drowned, right? How did he ended up in the water, right? Why don't somebody say that? Nobody's saying it, bro. Nobody's saying it, chat. Nobody's saying it that he drowned, bro. They scared, yo. I know when somebody's scared. I could tell. The body language and the lawyer was like this. This is a defense. This is like trying to comfort yourself when you do that. He was mad and he had his arms crossed. They cannot convince me that this was an accident. They can't convince, what's up? They can't convince me of that. They can't convince me that it was an accident. No. They can't. It's not an accident. But you know what? If I'm a betting man, if he didn't get jumped, they didn't do it. If he didn't get jumped, somebody else did it. But they're not stupid. They know, well, they stupid for doing the interview. But they know for a fact it's something called a conspiracy. And here's the thing. I don't think they know what the investigators, you know how usually if you got some hookup in the town, the investigators be like, don't worry about it. We got it. Just let it play out. I don't think that was told to them. It's almost like they're trying to convince the public of their innocence. Before, it's already hot in the kitchen, but they're trying to let the public know we didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? No, one thing I do know is they were scared. I do know. You can look at somebody and tell they're uncomfortable. You can look at them and tell. That I know. But my question is, what are they uncomfortable for? Thank you. Don't get me to blushing up here. They I know when somebody is uncomfortable, man. I never forget. This was when I was in 8th grade. We broke into our school gym. It was on a Sunday. No, it was on a Saturday. It was during the summer. No, we were going into 8th grade. It was the summer before we went to 8th grade. We broke into the gym because we wanted to, it was during the week. It was like a Thursday. I don't know, but it wasn't the weekend. We broke into the gym because it was like a gap through the door in the back where we can just slide in through the gym. We done it multiple times. And then we cut on the lights and played basketball. And one day we got caught. The police came. And the police, they knew our folks, but I didn't know that. The police, they said, all y'all get on the ground. They was teaching us a lesson. Now that I know, they were teaching us a lesson. They told us all to get on the ground, and it was 4 of us. No, it was like 5 of us. They told us all to get on the ground, and they put handcuffs on us. They said, you guys are going to jail. And then I said, we going to jail? He said, shut up. He said, you going to jail tonight. And you going to go to the big boy jail. He said, because this is what you call breaking and entering. And we all on the ground. They had us on the ground like on the grass, face down, handcuffs on us and everything. And then they put 2 of us in the back of each car. No, they had some standing, like sitting on the ground. They had some of us in the car. And he told me, since you one of the biggest, you're actually going to jail. Some of them might not go to jail, but you're definitely going to jail. He said, because you're like the biggest. He said, you can take jail. A lot of them can. I'm like, what? Yo, he said, unless y'all tell us, did y'all break in his gym? You need to tell us now. My boy doing like this, like telling me to shut up. I started crying, yo. And I said, you know what I said to him? I said, officer, is my mother gonna find out? Because she's at work. He said, oh, we about to tell her now. We know who your mother is. I said, you know who my mother is? He said, yeah. And I just started bawling. And he said, why are you crying? Are you guilty? He said, did somebody let you in the gym or did you break in the gym? I straight up told him, yo, we broke into the gym. I straight up told him, yo, we broke into the gym. He said, okay, I'm glad. He said, you told me, but you said, that's against the law. The police officer's face was turning red. And now I knew why he was turning red, because he was trying not to laugh. They were having fun with us. He was like, yeah, he said, it's a good thing. He'll tap me on the shoulder. He says, it's a good thing that you told the truth, but your boys ain't telling the truth. So all of you got to go to jail. He said, all the all the youths got to go to jail. And I said, how are we going to get out of jail? He said, it's up to your parents. Bro, I almost pissed my pants. I was so damn nervous. Because I knew we broke into the gym. I knew it. It's the same thing with this. Somebody knows something. That's why they nervous. They nervous as hell. Oh, yeah. So what he did was, he said, he acted like they were on the radio and whatnot. And he came back. He said, guys, y'all definitely going to jail. I said, what? He said, y'all definitely going, man. He said, I'm sorry. He said, y'all going to the big boy jail. I said, the big boy jail with other. He said, yeah, just like Scared Straight, that jail. Bro, I was crying uncontrollably. Everybody was crying at this point. Now we're all crying, right? And he said, there's only one thing. How can we make this right? He said, because so then the father came, of our grammar school. It was a Catholic school. He came down and he's laughing. And we see him talking. His name, Father Ryan. We see him, because I was an altar boy, right? and I'm gonna lose my altar boy gig because you know they used to pay us back then to be altar boys. You know that was my candy money. So in my movies money, you know. So I'm gonna lose that. The father's right there, and he's talking to him. He came over. He said, um, "Y'all looking at 10, 20 years?" Yo, he was just yo. I was just screaming at this point. I couldn't even breathe anymore. I'm crying so hard. So the officer said, "Calm down, calm down." He said, "You okay?" He said, "But I bet you guys learned a lesson." He said, "The next time, all you got to do is go to Father Ryan and say to him, 'Can you get in the gym?' That's it. You don't got to break in the gym." So then, after that, Father Ryan came and said, "Yeah, you boys can continue to play in the gym." He said, "All these are good boys." He said, "They can continue to play in the gym, right?" So they let us go. So now I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, I wasn't that scared and all that. They was like, "Man, shut up, man." They said, "You the one sitting there crying. Shut up. Don't act like you acting all hard now." I said, "Yeah, that." I said, "That ain't my first time in back of a police car." They said, "Yes, it was, because you was sitting up there crying." That was hilarious. To this day, they even say it to this day, and that was years ago. That was that was a long time ago. That was well over 38 years ago, or more than that. But yeah, I thought we were going to jail, dog, for breaking in the gym. Our gym. It was my school's gym. And the police, all he said was, "Yeah, your mother gonna be mad." He said, "I'm gonna tell her." And I was trying to convince him not to tell my mother. He said, "We gonna tell her, yo." He said, "Cause y'all ain't had nothing else better to do but break in his gym." And I learned a lesson, man. I don't want to be in back in no police car ever again. Ever again. Ever again. And you know the original Scared Straight from the 1970s, a very close family friend of mine was locked. No, a very close family member of mine was actually in that prison at the time during Scared Straight, the original Scared Straight. Because one of the guys that was in the Scared Straight with him was in Vietnam with him. They were in Vietnam together. They was in the Marines together, and ended up, my family member ended up getting locked up at that time. And then when I was around 6 or 7 years old, he got locked up again, and he went to the same jail. They used to call it Rawway State Prison, but now it's called New Jersey State Prison, right? So I remember going there to see him during visitation, because they allow you to go in and touch your loved ones during visitation. You know, they had like a day room, and I never forget that smell and the way it was. And I remember this guy coming over to the my mother was there. It was my dad. My dad was locked up. So I never forget the guy coming over. He said, "I want you to meet somebody." He said, "Come over here." He said, "Tell him if he ever get in trouble, what's gonna happen to him." He said, "We gonna make you our woman." He said, "With your pretty eyes." He said, "Boy, what color is your eyes?" And at this point, I think I was 8 years old, because I'm old enough to remember. Like I was like 8 or 9. And I'm like, I didn't answer him. He said, he said, he ain't trying to answer you. He disrespecting you. He said, "You disrespected me?" I said, "What color are your eyes?" I said, I don't know. I said, "I don't know, yo." He said, "If you ever come in here," he said, "you're going to have to fight every day because you're beautiful." He said, "You're a pretty young boy." He said, "You look like a little girl." Because my mother used to put braids in my hair. She said, "You look like a little girl." He said, "Imagine you coming up in here and being somebody's woman." And I'm like, "I don't want to be nobody's woman." He said, "All right, you don't come in here, you hear me?" And that's it. He said, "Your dad's a good man." He said, "We was in the service together." You know what I'm saying? He was in the, yo, you know what's sad, yo? He was in the service. My dad had PTSD. That's why he was in there. Because he blacked out one day and he went out. It was like a department store. He blacked out, yo. I ain't gonna say no more. He just blacked out. He had to do some time. And come to find out, he had PTSD. He used to tell me stories, and I didn't believe it. because I'm a little kid. I don't know what he talking about. I don't know what a bush is. He said he had to fight the bush. I don't know what. I'm like, fight the bush? Like, damn, he fighting demons? What do you mean fighting a bush? He said, yo, he used to tell me, and we used to enjoy his stories, but we thought they were made up. He used to get his little fifth or whatever. We sit on the porch, and me and my boy Brucey and all of my friends, we used to like listen to his stories. He said, I remember he telling me, he said, you know how we always have problems with whites and blacks? He said we had that same problem in the military except for when we fought the Bush. He said when we went in that bush, there was no racism, no more. He said it was done. And he was in the military with his name was John Corzine. He used to be a senator. And he was in his, I guess, platoon. I don't know what you call it, but how he used to explain it. But I found that out after his death, because my dad passed away. But I found out, like, it's crazy. Like, when I got older, I understood what he was talking about. But here's the sad part. He had PTSD. A couple of his friends he was locked up with, they were locked up because they had PTSD. They couldn't take being on the outside for a while. They couldn't take it. And that was a while ago, because they got out in the 70s. They got out because the Vietnam was over in 75. That's what he told me. I got to Google it. Was it over in 75? Because he told me, he said it was over when you were born. That's what he used to tell me. I said, because to this day, I'm going to have to go research when it was over. I think it was over in 75, because that's what he keeps saying. He kept saying to me, 75. And he came home before 75, obviously, because I was born. But he said, all throughout the 80s, he said they struggle with it. He said, just imagine being put in an environment and you keep hearing steel flies going by your ear. And I'm like, what the hell he means steel flies? I used to think he was like, yo, what is steel? There were bullets. He was really talking about bullets. And he said one time he had to save this guy because he dropped his weapon. He just dropped and froze and was just standing upright. He said, boy, if you don't get down, he had to tackle him. But a lot of those guys that were locked up, they had PTSD and they couldn't deal with it. He finally got over it, but I knew right then and there I didn't want to go to prison, because I saw what it looked like. I didn't want to go. When I was coming up, UPS was always hiring. I didn't know drugs. I didn't hang out on the streets, because I knew what was waiting for me. He said I'm gonna be somebody's woman up in jail. So it gave me PTSD. I remember my friends like, yo, we gonna go out, we gonna do this, we gonna take from this store, because my boys, they used to like the Boost. They used to like the Boost from Lord and Taylor and Macy's. Macy's, Lord and Taylor. What was the other department store? Lord and Taylor, Macy's, Aeropostale, the Gap. There was some other stores they used to like Boost. They said, yo, we're gonna go boosting, you know what I'm saying, get some polo and stuff. They always had the stuff, because they used to steal. I had what I can afford, because I wasn't gonna try to do that, because I wasn't trying to go to jail, bro. But my point is, I've been through all of this. I know in Nordstrom, thank you, Nordstrom. They used to go in there and steal. And it was this guy around our way. He was like back then, he was, as they call it now, they call him, we call them trannies back then too. He was a tranny. His name was Ronnie, and he was a fiend. He was on drugs and stuff. He didn't have his front teeth or nothing. And he used to be wearing wigs and stuff like a woman. Like, he'll be dressed up like a woman. He'll go right in there and steal. And to this day, I don't know how he stole all this stuff. They used to go with him. One time they all got locked up. I wasn't with him. My mother was like, were you with him? I'm like, hell no. I'm not trying to get locked up. And I told her, you ain't got to tell me nothing. I remember when we used to go to Rawway State Prison. I knew what the guys were like in there. And I said, I don't want to go in there. That's why I was scared straight. Literally, I was scared straight. But I've been in uncomfortable situations to know when somebody's uncomfortable. They were uncomfortable in the interview. He's doing that thing. All right, well, he's doing his thing with the lead oil. But yeah, man, they are uncomfortable. And he had that same feeling I had. It's like a flight. They call it a flight or fight. What is it? Flight or fright syndrome. A fight or flight. Fight or flight. That's what it is. It's when you're in a situation you're so uncomfortable, like you're like, damn. That's how Jax was looking. He was looking just like that. So it was unbelievable, bro. Like when I was looking at them, I immediately started thinking how I felt. You know, he being questioned and all that. He know that millions of people gonna watch it. Yeah, bro, he's scared, yo. And I don't think he did it. Like something is telling me he didn't do it. He didn't do it. And the other one, he trying to talk. And look, you remember how the one on the end was looking at what's his name, Will, whatever his name is, Warren. You see how they looked at each other, bro? They in some shit, bro. And you know the crazy part about it is the power structure in their local area. They might not be able to help them, especially if the feds get involved. Especially if the feds get involved, they might not be able to help, bro. Yeah, it's called being knee deep in some shit. That's what it's called. Somebody, I don't know if it's them. Somebody in the background. Somebody in the background is freaking out over this. I don't know who. Because that interview with officer, that's like desperation to even do that interview. I'm not taking nothing away from Officer Tatum. He let them talk, but it still didn't look good. And it wasn't his fault. He was the one asking the questions, and he didn't even ask hard questions. But it's just that the way it's like they were trying to come up with a story on the fly, yo. That's the way I felt. When they were, just imagine if I was there, they wouldn't be able to do the interview. Because while he's sitting there asking the questions, I'd have been like this. I wouldn't have looked away. I'm just looking at him like this. And I guarantee you, somebody would have said, "Are you okay?" Talking about me. "Are you okay? You good?" "Yeah, I'm good. I'm just listening to you. I'm not judging you. I'm listening." Because when I was listening to them, I wanted to clear my mind of the case. I wanted to listen to them with an open mind, right? I don't want to listen to them. I want to listen without judgment. That's the way I tackled it. I want to listen to them without judgment, right? I'm not talking about the first interview, the one with the whole group together. That the very first thing I noticed was Jax. He was the very first one. He stood out to me because he don't look like he would be caught up in some bullshit like that. I don't read that on him. I don't. And I don't think he hated Nolan either. He's like a cool dude. He seemed like he's a cool dude. That's what I read on him. And I read that he had to do it. They made him do the interview. He was the one that was the most terrified out of all of them. But you know what I think? If something happened to Nolan, they were there. They know who did it. But my question is to you, why don't they just be quiet? Why did they have to do the interview? Did they? Because it didn't look good now. It don't look good. It looks like they hiding something. Now, I wouldn't have had that impression on them if they had been quiet, because I don't know. Before Jax came on the interview, I didn't know nothing about Jax. I didn't hear Jack's name in the CETO call. Did you? I didn't even know Jack's. You know, Jack said, well, they showed the picture of all of us with Nolan in the beginning. Okay, but I didn't know you. I didn't know the dude name was Jax. I didn't know. The media didn't say that. I didn't know that was him in the photo. I didn't think nothing of the photo. He said they making it seem racist when they put the photo up like that. Why? That's your friend. Why it got to be racist because he's the only black guy in the picture? You see, they the ones saying that. I didn't think that. I think that he went out there. What I honestly thought was he went out there, they got the drink, and somebody couldn't hold their liquor. They got the fight, and somebody ended up dead. That's what I thought. I didn't think of it as like he the only meatball in the spaghetti, because he wasn't. Because you can clearly see. All right, if you don't believe me, watch this. Go to Instagram and type in Horn Island. You're not going to find any posts from the 4th of July. They all been taken down because they were up there. Because I got on the case on the 5th. Somebody sent me the case. Somebody that live out there, they sent it, hey, yo, somebody went missing on the 4th. Check this case out. That's when I started following it. And I went on Instagram. I said, okay, I never heard of Horn Island. Let me go on Instagram. You know how you took hashtag Horn Island? I put hashtag Horn Island, then I started seeing the pictures. All of them been taken down. All of them. The next day when they said they found the body, because they said he was missing, I started following it when he went missing because somebody sent it to me. It wasn't on the local news yet. It wasn't on the mainstream news yet. Somebody happened to knew about it and sent me the story. They sent me the story. On the 6th is when it was breaking news that they said they found the body. And I said, oh man, that's him. They had to have found him. But my mind wasn't going to race yet. My mind wasn't going to that, even though I know, and I didn't think that it was a remote island. I thought it was an island where everybody go to on the 4th, shoot fireworks, drink, and it's very festive. It's a boating area. I thought it was going to be a mad boats out there. I didn't think it was just only them out there. I never had that impression. I said, okay, he went out with some friends. You know, this is what I immediately thought. I immediately knew it was foul play. I said he went out there with friends. They got to drinking. Somebody got liquored up, couldn't hold their liquor, and probably was over a girl, and somebody died, yo. That's how I felt. And now I really feel that way. And what did they put out? The news put out. There was a video, and you could hear somebody arguing in the background. The news put that out. Somebody down there is not helping them, guys. Somebody throwing them under the bus. Somebody is throwing them under the bus, because why did they put that out? We didn't need to hear that. Because now we are assuming that it was him that got in the fight, right? The news put that out. Oh, tree cutters. They're like, damn, there's a tree falling on the tree cutters doing it. So they put that out. So I'm like, damn, somebody said, give me my phone, N-word, right? So I said, that might have been him. That might have been how it started. But then Trayston came out, said that was him. But I'm going to tell you something else. His boy, Javon, he knows more. Javon know more, yo. But I think they're scared, you know, because the locals out there, and I don't know. But if somebody's throwing them under the bus, though, and leaking this information, and the news is the one that's doing it, the local news out there is the one that's doing it. You know what I suspect? Somebody want to break a big case. Because if they break a big case and they get a conviction, there's people going to get elevated off of this. They might have, this might be enough for a reporter to leave that area and go on the mainstream. Somebody's breaking this, yo. We weren't supposed to hear, because when we heard the people out there on Horn Island, we heard people out there fighting. We heard it. And we heard something about give me my cell phone back N-word. They weren't supposed to leak that if it was the good old boy system. See, the good old boy system is cracking out there, it seemed like, because they weren't even supposed to show that. And then what did they do? They put out the CETO call. And you could clearly hear somebody say, oh my God.
Across the street, come on, don't play like a deer.
You know, so somebody leaked that on purpose. Somebody leaked that on purpose. They wanted us to hear that. They wanted us to hear that. You know? Somebody wanted us to hear that. So something is going on behind the scenes, Joe. Somebody gonna use these boys as a come up. Remember I said it. That's what I think. We weren't supposed to hear that CETO call if there's a good old boy system out there. Right? Why are they leaking that? Why are they leaking that? Because everybody not down with the program. That's why. They scared, bro, because they can't explain that CETO call. The only thing they're saying is it's been manipulated. Oh, it's been manipulated. No, how about the original call? That's what I would have said. What about the original call? How about that? What do you hear right here? Oh, I can't hear nothing. If they gaslight me there, it'll be up, yo. I'm like, yo, let's listen to it. Keep listening. Tell me what you hear. Do you at least hear somebody saying, oh my God? Do you at least hear that? Okay, you hear that? Okay, let's keep listening. I would have pressed the issue. It ain't no way in the hell you ain't hear, oh my God, Nolan. There's no way. And it was a girl that said it. Somebody throwing them under. Somebody's telling you guys. Somebody telling. Oh, let me see if my phone is hot. I gotta cut the video off, guys, because I'm chopping up right now. My phone is hot. You said also the girl that sent Christine. I don't know, man. It's my phone. Yeah, it's always chopped up now. It's chopped and screwed, but I might have to do another live. Yo, guess not, man. Damn, that's crazy. I'm still live, but I don't know if y'all can hear me though, really. It says I'm live, but it's crazy right now. Yo, y'all hear me? Yeah, but it's breaking up on my end, Jen. Yeah, I know y'all can hear me, but yo, you should see how my phone. It's acting crazy. It's about to knock me off, man. You said what he looked like? You talking about Bart Edmondson? You can just research him. He a D1 kicker, yo. Top in the nation. He ain't no regular kicker, man. He got a name in the game. They talking about he might be in the NFL one day with his kicking. You see what I'm saying? And he a brolic kind of dude too. He ain't no small kicker, yo. He kind of big, yo. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't saying you did it, Bart. So don't be coming after me. Don't be coming after me now. Don't be coming after me because I don't know what happened. You hear me? You hear me, Mike? I don't know. Don't you know what I'm saying? Because what did the lawyer say? He meant business too. He said we coming after you. He said don't. He said you better retract your statements. That's what he said. He said because you don't retract your statements, we bringing you down here and it's gonna be painful. He said that too. He said that. He said it's gonna be painful. He said we gonna put you gonna be cased up, and he said it's gonna be painful. Straight up, yo. And he represented Trump and all that. So I gotta provide my disclaimer because they trying to come after people. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. I wasn't there. But only thing I know is them boys look nervous, sir. Why they look so nervous? That's my question. I'm just asking. The collective want to know. You feel me? Because listen, if I ain't do nothing, I ain't got nothing. Yo, listen, let's say well, I already tell you what I would have done, cutie. I would be up there snitching. I would have been snitched already. But if I'm on the interview, they be like, Max, you got to go on this interview, man. You got to make this look good. I'd be on the interview chilling, man. Lamp back, yo, chilling. Officer Tatum, so Max, what do you think about the CETO call? What I think about what? The CETO call? Yeah, was manipulating all that. No comment, yo. No comment. I plead the fifth, yo. I would have pled the fifth right on the interview, yo. They would have been looking at me like I was crazy. You pleading the fifth? Yeah, I plead the fifth, man. But what you pleading the fifth for? Listen, I plead the fifth. I'm not answering that. You know? Imagine that. The lawyer he probably would have passed out. He would have passed out right there. You plead the fifth? No, sir. It ain't no reason to plead the fifth because, okay, so you saying the audio was manipulated, right? Yeah. Okay, well, I ain't got no comment on that. Just like that. That's how I would have answered it. And then y'all really would have been tripping. Y'all like, yo, he know more. And then I would have signed off the internet. Straight up. Now, when they said that Trayston went to the store and they said his money ain't good here, I don't believe that. They gonna have to show me. They got to prove that to me. Because that's not what Trayston said. He said Ocean Springs gonna have Ocean Springs back 100%. That's what he said. Now, do that mean the whole Ocean Springs? Probably not. All I know is why they look so scared? Cutie, did you see the interview? How you think them boys looked in the interview? Am I tripping? We know what happened. We actually have the evidence. Right. He said it. We got the evidence. We know what happened. He said these three didn't do it. That's all I can. He said, I know that for a fact. He said they didn't do it. Okay, so I'm rocking with the lawyer then. So he said they didn't do it. So who did it? That's the question. Who did it then? You know? He's saying they got the evidence. He did. He said, we got the evidence. And we know they didn't do it. But then he also said this too. We don't know what happened to Nolan. But I know that these three didn't do it. I'm going to drink some water on that. You feel me? That's what the lawyer said. I didn't say that. He said, we got the evidence, baby. My clients didn't do it. He said, y'all, somebody going to have to apologize for all this slander. Well, I want to know who did it. Straight up. Somebody did it. And I can tell you, they blacked out. They blacked out drinking. I believe it was over drinking and couldn't hold their liquor. And they got to beefing. And that's what happened. That's what I think. But who did it? I don't know. Hey, there go my homegirl right there. Is that Miracle? She said it was over. Can you type it what it was over? Miracle, just type it real quick. She said it was over some coochie. She spelled it Kewchie. It's coochie. She said it just like that. And she wasn't even saying to be funny. That's how she spelt it. Miracle, weren't they looking scared in that interview, man? Or am I picking on them? They were looking shook in that interview. And Officer Tatum was just sitting there calm. He said, so Tell us about this. You guys start one by one. Tell us about it. Uh, uh, I hear a lot of uhs and a lot of pauses. You know what I would have said if I was Officer Tatum? Yo, off the record, yo, let's not record this. Yo, who did it, yo? Yo, I ain't gonna tell on you, but who did it, yo? Because I don't want you boys going down for somebody bullshit. So who did it? And y'all need to go say who did it. Straight up. He also slipped and said something about murder or something. He slipped. He was like, yeah, if we how do we know it's a murder, Warren? Like, he need to tell us, yo. Yeah, he said we got the evidence. And they know what happened. But how come they won't? He said we'll talk about it later, though. He said we got the evidence. And he said these three didn't do it. And he named them by names. Warren, Jax, and what's the other one name? Warren, Jackson, I forget the one on the edge. What's his name? I know he represents just them three. Morgan? Yeah, Morgan, Jackson, and Warren. He said they didn't do it. You know what I would have said if I was the good officer? Well, who did it then? We can't. He probably would have said we can't say right now. You back on the road, cutie? Yeah, well, who did it then? Like, just tell us. Because y'all need to start saying it now because if the feds come in, bro, you know what I feel like? If the feds come in, they really in trouble. Because you know how the feds are. They not coming in until they got an airtight case. The feds will sit on it for like 6 months. You said maybe Kate. Nah, I don't think she did it. I haven't heard from her yet. Have you? And also, they said it's a letter, a handwritten letter out there now. And she said somebody was like on that cocaine all day. You know, I don't know how true that is. Somebody lost it. Somebody was on. Somebody did it, man, for real. Oh, it's crazy, bro. But I'm gonna say this: if everything pans out correctly, eventually it's gonna come out. As I can tell you right now, Miracle and Cutie, Jax ain't going down for nobody. I'm telling you, he look like he about to start telling. He ain't gonna go down for nobody, yo. I'm zeroed in on Jax. You know what I'm saying? I'm zeroed in on him right now. Because this right here, this is beyond some gangster type shit. Somebody died here, bro. This is serious. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, is he saying something was done to Nolan? Because he said they ain't do it. Yeah, he did say that. He did. God, they should have never did the interview, Cutie. Now I'm just catching on to that. He said, yeah. He said they didn't do it. But he did say we don't know what happened to Nolan, but they didn't do it. So he's implying, he might be implying that something happened to him. All he's saying is his clients didn't do it. This a mess, yo. That's why you ain't supposed to talk. You're not supposed to talk. You're not supposed to talk at all. You're not supposed to talk. Yeah, he said they didn't do it. Okay, but who did it? Like, who? Yo, Q, they shouldn't have did the interview, man. They shouldn't have. You know what I would do? They can't even tell the good officer to delete to delete it now. They can't even do that because it's gonna make them look guilty. They can't even say delete it now. They can't even say that. I wish they could have looked at the interview before it went out because it looked crazy. Yeah, it means something was done. That means something was done, but they didn't do it. Yeah, he said he got all the evidence. And I want to know what that evidence said. He said he got it all. Like I said, guys, if it was me, hey, Max, you want to do this interview with Officer? Nope. Nah, I'm good. Nope. I probably would admit it to it. I probably would say, yeah, such and such. Yo, I probably would have been like, F this, yo. Such and such did it. Like, y'all ain't going to have me. It would have been a mess if I was doing it. It would have been a mess. Actually, they wouldn't have had me up there anyway. Yeah, they got to stand on it because they. But look, the lawyer said we got all the evidence, all of it, and we know. And look, he know what happened. But at the same time, he don't know what happened to Nolan. Okay, he don't know what. This is a mess, yo. Oh my God, what kind of lawyer is this? If I was the powers that be out there, I would just go ahead and prosecute for them being stupid. You know what I'm saying? Sitting up, we told you not to talk. Y'all sitting up here talking. And then he said, they shouldn't have put plastered their photo out there. What's wrong with that? It's just showing him he was having a good time. He was with friends. That's the only thing I took of it. He was having a nice day with friends and something went bad. I didn't automatically think the people in the photo did it. That's not where my mind went. I mean, at that time, we still probably thought, man, he could have drowned. We don't know. But all he's saying is we got the evidence and they didn't do it. And he said, if we murder somebody, you hear this? If we murder somebody, why would we call Cito and the Coast Guard if he murdered somebody? Well, we're not saying you murdered somebody, sir. We're not saying that. Golly, bro. They should have learned from Alec Murdoch, man. He took the stand and messed up. And he's a trained lawyer, attorney. It's best to be quiet. But I'm glad, they did the. For us to critique. He said, if we murder somebody, you think we would call? Ain't nobody said you murdered somebody. See? Ain't nobody said that. At least I didn't say it. I didn't say it. He said, if we murder somebody, you think we're going to make calls like that? Now, my thing is, it could be an alibi. Yeah, I would make some calls and make it look like an alibi. Yeah, he's saying the boat was towed. It's a mess, yo. They can't get their stories right. And the good officer just sitting there listening to him. Dig a hole. Now, let me ask you guys this. How do we know that the good officer wasn't sent to get information? We don't know. We don't know if he got their best interest at heart. Didn't they always say, just exercise your right to remain silent? Anything you say can and will be held against you in a court of law. Just be quiet. So what people think you did it? Okay? As long as you don't get arrested, it don't matter what people think. Just keep your mouth shut. Shit, that's what I would have did. I would have kept my mouth shut. But Max, everybody got your name in their mouth. So what? I would have still been making videos as it never happened. Straight up. Welcome back to another video. Like, Max, what's up, man? Like, well, I ain't talking about that right now. I want to talk about Brian Kohlberger. Y'all ain't gonna want to hear that, yo. Like, Max, what's up, man? I would have ignored y'all, straight up. Life would have been went on. That's it. I would have just said, let it play out. Let the investigation play out and go from there. But I'm not gonna say nothing. That's how it works, man. You said it's like Roland Martin not talking about the sex scandal. Yeah, he not saying nothing, is he? Tasha K, she on it though. Tasha K on everything. Just like the dude came out on Deion Sanders recently talking about he got the package. This is like gay dude came out and trying to out Deion Sanders. You see, he not saying nothing. But he said they got a court date because they have a what do you call it, a protection order against him. And I saw the protective order is against him, his daughter, and another lady in Boulder, Colorado. And Tasha on that case because she friended him. Because when I was looking at him trying to out somebody, Tasha K is already on it, yo. And you know the crazy thing was his ex-wife, she liked the video, but she unliked it. She liked the video because everybody talking about it. Like, yo, she liked the video, bro. But she unliked it on Instagram. It's best not to say nothing. The power in the pause is very powerful. Power in the pause, meaning don't say nothing. Because when he went there to get the keys to the car, he said he was like a brother to me, and they ain't even find the body yet. So we didn't even know if he was dead or not. He said he was like a brother to me. Was like a brother to me. He could still be a brother to you if he's still alive. We just didn't know yet. But he said it. He was like a brother to me. These boys at this point, they just need to be quiet at this point. They said enough. You said they were laughing on the interview. What were they laugh? Was one of them laughing? It might lead to less death threats. Damn, all three was like, what they laughing at? I gotta go look at what were they laughing at. Yeah, let them keep talking. They gonna talk again. I'm gonna watch it again. It could have been a nervous laugh. Yeah, it don't mean anything for laughing. Depending on the question. Now, my question is, when did they deactivate their social media accounts? Was it that night before they found the body or afterwards? Did they deactivate that night? Oh, they were laughing when the lawyer said he was suing content creators? Well, damn. They were laughing at that. Well, there are a few content creators that was like saying such and such did it. Because I heard it. I saw it all. They didn't say allegedly either. They said such and such did it. You said Tracy said that was his boy, and Christine said, "Who is this?" Yeah, she said she ain't know him like that. She also said she didn't even know the barber. Said she didn't know him either. You don't even hear from him anymore. And then he came out and said such and such. His black friends was the one that cleared him. His black friends. He said they cleared him. His black friends. Yeah, he should interview the CTO dispatcher, Vicky. Nah, you don't want to interview her. She not lying for them. Yeah, the barber dude, he in a sunken place. He said it ain't like that out there no more because we sleeping with white women, having babies with white women. He said that stuff what happened with Emmett Till was a long time ago. He said he got killed for whistling at a white woman. Like it's Emmett Till's fault. Craziness. Oh, Crump Crew should interview Vicky. Yeah, he is funny though. You talking about the barber dude? Yeah. He said I talked to one of the guys' father that Nolan was with. We had lunch. We get up to have lunch 3 times a week. I don't believe that. He said we try to stay off each other's toes around here. He said the whites, they try not to step on our toes, and we try not to step on their toes. That means it's a problem down there. Then what you mean you trying not to trying to stay out of the way? I think a lot of people know what happened to him, but I'm here to tell them people gonna be talking about this case every day, man. Like it's Kanika Jenkins. They were talking about Kanika Jenkins for a whole 5 years, man. What you think they're gonna do with this one? Some people already said they going up to Bart's first game to boo him. They already bought tickets. They said they gonna be booing him at his game, booing him. That's crazy. You know the internet be interneting. That's all I can say. The internet is interneting, and it's not the content creators you got to watch out for. It's the people that's listening that might feel triggered and might gonna want to mess around and go the distance. I'm in the hood, guys, so occasionally you're gonna see cars with the system and all that. They still do that around here. We used to do that back in the day, but I ain't think people still do that, but they do. I lived in Virginia so long, we didn't do that down there. Here they do. And let me just say this. People say anything on the internet. You know what I'm saying? I thought we were going to lose gravity today. That's what they said. They made us think we're going to lose gravity. That was trending on TikTok. They said, guys, it's today, the gravity, and we're going to lose gravity today for 7 seconds. And look, I'm sitting out here in the car. You know? People crazy on the internet. This one girl that everybody be listening to, you could tell she crazy. She said everybody died back in 2000. She said back in 2015, we all died. And we're on a different timeline. You said we still have 6 hours to go. Yo, let me get back in the house. They said the whole world's supposed to lose gravity. The whole world, yo, for 7 seconds. You know how catastrophic that'll be, bro. The insurance won't be able to cover everybody. We'll be out back. Insurance, like, I'm not covering that. She said we all died back then, and we on a different timeline. Yeah, insurance don't want to cover nothing, man. They definitely won't cover that. So, they say whatever they want to say on TikTok, man. That's why I don't believe in people, man. It's like, for me, it's entertainment. But I tell you what's also entertaining. Every time I turn around, Trump falling asleep, yo. Every time I turn around, he falling asleep. And then they said the girl that was standing next to him was a robot. It's weird, yo. He was there falling. He was asleep, yo. And he was leaning in his chair, too. And then he got up and started talking. Nah, bro, you was asleep. He don't get no sleep at night. Yeah, Carmelo got an open hearing coming up. Yeah, he switched planes at the last minute because they were trying to get at him. because he wanted to have that new plane. Because you know what his problem is? The new Air Force Ones are still being built, and he's trying to be like, damn, I want to enjoy them now. Like, what's taking so long? I guess he feel like, damn, like by the time I'm out of office, we ain't gonna have the planes. So he went ahead and got a plane from Qatar. They gifted him one, and then at the last minute, when he was in where was he at? Turkey. They said, yo, you can't get on this plane. They brought the old Air Force One. And then when he got on the old Air Force One, they took him out and put him somewhere else and flew on another plane because they felt like they were about to get him then. It was a credible assassination attempt. So he got out of there with his life, yo. And now, did you see when he went golfing? They had a surface to air missile launcher right there on the golf course. They had a missile defense system on the golf course in Bedminster. No, he didn't leave the others to die. What happened was the Secret Service told him, they whispered to him, they say, yo, what we gonna do is we gonna put you on the old Air Force One, and then we're gonna take you off and put you on a military jet where nobody can't see you. That's what they did. They get him back to the States because I think they were gonna try to send a missile at his plane. You said they may not have done it, but they definitely know who did. Well, the lawyer said they got all the evidence. They know what happened. That's what the lawyer said. You feel me? The lawyer said that. The lawyer said it. We know what happened, but he said we don't know what happened to Nolan, but we got all the evidence, if that makes sense. It's a mess. But yeah, Trump, man, they were trying to get at him, man. So they had to move him out through the back and put him on another plane. That's crazy. I don't know what he went over there for anyway. And you got an active beef going on. Let me just say this real quick. So I don't know who was responsible for the bombing, him or Izzy. But Iran, the new supreme leader, he lost both of his parents in the bombing, both of them. So you don't think it's up? It's up right now. It's up. And you know what else they just said? We're not going to negotiate no more. We're going to wait till he's out of office. That's what they said. We're going to wait for the next president to come in for us to negotiate. That's what they said, yo. We not negotiating with him no more. We just going to wait until he's out of office and wait for the next president. They said it just like that, yo. It's up. It's up. Like if you murked both my parents, they both got murked. You don't think it's up? It's beef. So why are you going to go with a turkey for? Why are you doing that? I would have told him if I'm the Secret Service person, because I know he beef a lot with him. You know what I would have told him? Every little step you take is going to be in Washington, D.C. That's it. Okay? Because we didn't tell you to start no international beef, yo, because it's up right now. I would have said it to him just like that. It's up. It's up for his whole family. It's up. It's up, yo. The beef is up, yo. His whole family. They already talking about, they said with Melania, they had a whole profile on her, which stores she liked to shop at in New York City. And they were going to have somebody waiting, yo. It's up, yo. That's the only thing I can tell you. That man, both his parents got murked. Both of them. So I would just stay in the States. Yeah, they said no more negotiation, man. We'll just wait for the next president to come in. They gonna wait for who the next president gonna be? That's up in the air right now. I don't know. It definitely ain't gonna be Vance. It's not gonna be him. It could be Rubio, or it could be the Democratic side. More than likely, it's gonna be Cory Booker to win that nomination on the Democratic side. Kamala's not gonna beat him because he got married for a reason. Because he gonna run. Nobody in the world can outtalk him. Nobody. You can't outtalk him. You definitely can't outtalk him. It's definitely not going to be Newsom, because he's not even going to win his state. It's going to have to be. I'd rather for it to be somebody younger. We need a young president, somebody that's real, somebody young, because that's the only people that Iran gonna listen to. They need a fresh person to come in, not somebody that's a part of the establishment. Now, don't get me wrong, Trump is not a part of the establishment either, and shit shit hit the fan, yo. He should never had did nothing to Iran. Never. Did you know every president that became a president, they were confronted by Izzy. Hey, can you attack Iran? They said no. Everybody said no. In fact, George Bush Sr., they was asking him so much, he put sanctions on him. Like, stop asking me. And then they stopped. Obama said no. But T here, he took him up on the office and F them, man. Let's go ahead and get at him. And now we try and negotiate. But now they don't want to negotiate. Like, we'll just wait for another president. How about that? It's a mess. But I'm here for it, though. I'm here for it. He connected to certain billionaires. They all got a connection. But you just can't listen to anybody on the internet, man. They said today, we were everybody's supposed to lose gravity for 7 seconds. That's what they said. They said for 7 seconds, gravity was gone. You know what'll happen if you lose gravity for 7? That'll be catastrophic. That's the only thing I can tell you. I mean, we'll shoot up in the orbit or some shit. It'll be crazy. But now that I said that, you know what I'm about to do? I'm about to take my ass in the house. Like, what's her name said, we got about 6 hours left. And I'm sitting up here. We knock on wood real quick, just in case. Let me get out of here, y'all. I'll be back a little later. I'll be back. Thank you for joining. Get up in the house before we lose gravity, man. I'm just kidding.